Hello everyone, I'm Michael from Heavyweight Boxing, and today I'm bringing you a prediction slash kind of rumour video right now, which is all about the Hughie Fury vs Alexander Povetkin fight, which is rumoured to be announced in the upcoming week, possibly even tomorrow. And I just thought I'd give you a little breakdown of this fight because it seems like it is going to be announced. I've seen quite a few sources talk about it, one of them being Seconds Out, as you can see here. So I just thought I'd talk about it, give you my little analysis of the fight and a little prediction. So to start off, I'd like to answer the question of whether I'm shocked about this fight being announced. And I've got to say yes and no. I am shocked, and I'm not. I'm shocked a little bit because it's not a fight that the fans have really been banging on the door for. So it's a bit of a random one. I'm sure a lot of people are going to tune in to see it. I'm quite interested to see it, but it was not one anyone's really been asking for. So I know Hughie Fury's only recently signed with Matchroom, which is probably why this has just only come about now. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. I'm also a bit shocked at it as well because with Hughie Fury just signing with Matchroom, I thought Eddie would put him with someone of a slightly lower caliber, such with the names of like Dave Allen and Lucas Brown, just to get Fury's popularity back up a little bit. His recent fights have been not the most impressive fights in the world, and he's been quite negative in a lot of the fights and is really not very popular with the fans at the moment. So I thought you'd put him with like a Dave Allen or something like that, just to show a bit of a schooling and get the fans behind him a little bit. But clearly he's dropping him in the deep end, if you like, is one way you might put it. But I'm also I'm not too shocked, because if you read between the lines a little bit, you could probably make out that this is a likely opponent that Hughie's team were looking at taking. Because if we look at the Samuel Peters fight, you can actually see a lot of similarities between Peters and Povetkin. I know Peters is quite old and he's way over it now, but they're both quite old fighters. They're both quite short, quite for a heavyweight, obviously short, quite big lumps, big power punchers. Obviously, Povetkin's by far a better fighter right now, but you can kind of see some of the similarities between the two fighters, and how Fury could probably have been taking this as taking that fight as a bit of a warm-up one for Povetkin. Also, Peter Fury, who's obviously linked with Hughie, has been banging on about Povetkin ever since that. I think it was the Sam Sexton fight a couple of fights ago. So we know that Povetkin has been on their radar. So yeah, I'm shocked and not. But anyway, let's get into the prediction part of the video. So I thought I'd break this down by looking at the advantages for both fighters. I'm going to start with Hughie Fury going into it. And one advantage Fury's definitely got is Povetkin's age. Povetkin's at the age of 39 now, which is pretty fucking old. And with age, you've got a lot of questions come up. The first one being punch resistance. We saw Povetkin in the AJ fight, and obviously I know AJ can fucking bang, like we know that, but the way AJ put Povetkin away was filthy. It was a straight right, and he was put to sleep. We usually see with AJ it's a couple of rounds of breaking someone down, but that was really a one punch knockout on Povetkin. We also saw Price. Price and AJ probably got similar. AJ's probably got a bit more power than Price, but we also saw with Price, he really wobbled Povetkin, sent him across the ring with a 1-2. So there's got to be question marks around Povetkin's durability. He's not the same fighter who fought Klitschko, so that's got to favour Hughie Fury a little bit going into that fight, knowing that he may have the potential to knock him out, or cause, if not knock him out, gain his respect a little bit, which will be important for the fight. Also, with Povetkin's age, you've got a question, and this is only a very small one, but his ambition and hunger going into this fight. Do you know what I mean? He's 39. He's been out the ring for about a year now. I don't think he's fought since the AJ fight, so it's been quite a while. And yeah, there's got to be questions about how hard is he training. He's accomplished a lot in his career now, and he's coming towards the end. Is he just looking for some paydays now? I don't know. I'm not sure. Povetkin seems like quite a hungry guy. He really brought it to AJ, and I'm sure he believes he can get back into the big mix once again. But some more advantages looking at Hughie Fury. We know he's a good fighter. You know, for all the stick he gets, I know he's a good fighter. I watched the Hughie Fury versus Parker fight, and it's a difficult one to score, and I know a lot of people actually had Hughie Fury winning that fight. So we know he is a good caliber of fighter. So you know, when people say there's levels to boxing, I don't believe Hughie Fury and Povetkin are on different levels. I did say, you know, it's in the deep end, but I'm only saying that because his last fight was Peters. I think they are both very well matched and on a similar level. So I am very excited for this fight. I think for Hughie Fury going into this, to win this fight, I think it's easy to say, simple to say, someone outside the ring, but and a lot harder to do. But I think for him, he's got to control the center of the ring, try and get a bit of respect from Povetkin with a bit of, try and display a bit of power, and then keep Povetkin at bay, keep him with the 1-2s, keep pumping that jab. You cannot let someone like Povetkin get on the inside, because we saw what he did to David Price. He can really bang. We know Povetkin can bang, so he's got to keep him on the outside. We know Fury can move. He can move about the ring. He's quite slick, a lot like Tyson. But yeah, that's got to be the game plan for them going in. Keep Povetkin on the outside. Anyway, going on to Povetkin and looking at the advantages for him going into this fight. All of these advantages probably sound quite negative because it's a lot of problems that the other fighter has going into it, but bear with me. So looking at Povetkin, although I have questioned his punch resistance, we also need to question, unfortunately, Hughie Fury's power a little bit. This is just a bit of a side note, but I watched Hughie Fury versus Samuel Peters, which was fucking dire. Like, that was difficult to watch, and the one thing I did notice from that is, for a lot of Hughie Fury's punches, he was really sitting on them, really throwing big shots. And Peters, is an old fighter, inactive fighter, was just brushing them off. And that is a bit worrying. I know eventually he did get the TKO or whatever it was, however it ended. But yeah, it's going to be a difficult one, because I question Povetkin's punch resistance, but I also question Hughie Fury's punch power. So make of that what you will. It's a bit of a difficult one, but yes, I do wonder if Hughie Fury will be able to get Povetkin's respect, but we'll see. Also with Hughie Fury, the one thing I do worry about him and his team a little bit is just the way he's been managed. Is just I'm not too sure about it. The way he'll fight at area level, or fight some bums or whatever. I'm not saying Samuel Peters is a bum, but low level fighters, and then we'll just jump up to fight the likes of Pulev, Parker, Povetkin. Now are good fighters, instead of working his way up slowly for these big fights. Do you know what I mean? Fighting at British level, going to European, then taking on some big world fighters. I think Hughie Fury can still win this fight. I don't think he's completely out of his depth. But would I, if I was managing Hughie Fury, I'd have given him a warm-up fight with someone, of a lower caliber than Povetkin, just to warm him up for the Povetkin fight. That's just me personally. But also, looking at the positives for Povetkin, this guy is no joke. He may be 39, but we saw him cause Anthony Joshua some serious problems in the early parts of that fight before getting put away. We saw him knock out Price. So we know and for a fighter, we know the last thing to go is that punching power. So Povetkin, I'm sure, will be looking to land some big bombs. He's also a very good inside fighter, and he's a good pressure fighter. It's difficult to call him a pressure fighter, but he will hunt you down a little bit like Chisora kind of style. He's a very, he's a good fighter, man. Good amateur pedigree. He's been in there with the likes of Klitschko, etc. He's a good fighter. So bringing it towards an end now, my overall prediction for it, I've got to say, it's a difficult one. I'm leaning towards Povetkin right now, But I don't, that may change if I see Povetkin at the weigh-in and he's bloated up or whatever, but I highly doubt that. But at the moment, I'm leaning towards Povetkin. I don't think it's going to be a walkover for Povetkin. I've seen some other people talk about it and they think he's going to blow Hughie Fury out. I don't think that's going to be the case. Hughie Fury's, gone 12 rounds with Pulev and Parker, two hard hitters, experienced fighters. Although I'm not sure if I have a feeling Povetkin won't knock Hughie Fury out. Similar to, I think Hughie Fury's got the tools to go 12 rounds with Povetkin, but I just kind of feel like Povetkin is going to put it on Fury. He'll be hunting him down, throwing big bombs, throwing a lot of punches. I don't think a lot of the big shots are going to hit Hughie Fury. That's why I don't think Hughie Fury will get knocked out, because he's quite a slick fighter. Will be able to move around the ring, dodge a lot of the big ones. But I just think Hughie Fury's kind of negative style that we've seen in the Parker fight, and we've seen in previous fights where the reason why people don't fucking want to watch him fight is gonna work against him in this fight. And I just feel like Povetkin will probably get the judge's decision just through his kind of style. But who knows? Again, I would not be shocked if Hughie Fury pulls out an upset. He's a good fighter, but right now I'm leaning to a Alexander Povetkin points decision. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your prediction. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.